Before you buy another RV upgrade.
Before you spend money based on something you heard online.
Before you accept another piece of RV advice as fact.
You're going to want to watch this first.
After years of RVing, we've noticed something. Some of the most common facts in RVing are absolutely true. Others are only true in certain situations.
And a few simply aren't true at all, and the challenge is figuring out which is which.
Today, we're taking some of the most common things RVers hear from dealers, YouTube, Facebook, manufacturers, and other experienced RVers and putting them back into context.
Because understanding the difference can save you money, prevent costly mistakes, and help you enjoy RVing a whole lot more. I'm Jamie.
I'm Linda.
And this is Roaming with Rosie.
The first category we're calling It Depends, which means it can be true depending on the situation or your expectation.
Now let's start with this. How often do you hear that you need solar to boondock? Now let's just explain what boondocking is. Boondocking or dry camping is basically when you're in your RV and you're not plugged in anywhere and you're not hooked up to any water, so you're basically self-sufficient.
This is kind of a case where people are putting the cart before the horse. People often are buying the solution before they've even experienced the problem. Solar, batteries, generators, we're saying maybe experience boondocking first and then upgrade secondly.
And do you really need all of that? It depends. Let's start with your camping style. What are you actually trying to power? Do you have a CPAP machine or a residential refrigerator? Maybe you have a microwave or a coffee maker, a hair dryer, a TV, laptop, or maybe you're trying to power your RV's AC system.
And there isn't just one kind of boondocking or dry camping either. Where and how long are you going for? Are you going to spend one night at a Harvest Host or at a Cracker Barrel or maybe just a rest stop? Or are you going to spend a week in Quartzsite in the winter? Or are you going to go out in the forest for a month? Do you need to work remotely? And do you need to live exactly as you live in your house?
Now, boondocking existed long before solar came out. With propane refrigerators, and you had lamps, and you have generators. Now, when you do research on boondocking, you're going to get bombarded with all kinds of solar and lithium setups. Now, we may have not put our solar system on this RV had we not already owned it. We have lithium batteries and a good-sized generator that would allow us to boondock depending on what our needs are.
Our friends have a huge solar setup which they had installed, and they can boondock almost anywhere even with their AC on, but it cost them almost $20,000 to do it. How many nights could they have at an RV park at an average cost of $60 a night for that? But that isn't really the point, because the point is they really enjoy boondocking.
And some people are just really good at conserving power. If you don't have it, you don't use it. Now, about 6 years ago, a lot of YouTubers would just go to a coffee shop, hook to their internet, get their online work done there.
We have other friends who had a huge solar setup that they installed themselves, and then they bought a new RV and decided to forego the solar altogether. They decided that with all of their lithium batteries and their generator, that's really all they needed to make it work. One of the things you need to figure out before you invest is, will you even like boondocking? So we're really saying you should try it first.
Solar panels and lithium batteries have made boondocking a lot easier than it's ever been. We wouldn't want to give ours up, but they're not the ticket that makes it so you can boondock. They're the tools that make it so you can boondock a lot easier. Now, the big mistake is believing that somebody else's electrical system has to be your shopping list.
Another thing that people like to say is that you'll save money RVing. Instead of asking, does RVing save money? The better question is, why do two different RVers have completely opposite answers to that same question? One says we save thousands each year. Another says our vacations cost us more than ever. How can both of those things be true?
Now let's start with what they're comparing it to. Some families may take a couple of vacations a year, usually a car trip. They might be staying in a motel or a hotel, maybe with a free breakfast. Or some people might stay at a Verbo where they actually have a kitchen where they can prepare their own meals. And for them, RVing may be a lot more expensive.
But the other might be used to vacations where they've got airfare, hotel, rental cars, and restaurant meals. A family of four may easily say that a vacation is way cheaper in an RV than what they're used to having with those kinds of vacations. For a retired couple, the savings of owning an RV and taking RV trips might be a way different than taking a cruise where your meals are included. That could be totally the opposite.
And of course, there's how and where you travel to in your RV. Even if you're in the same RV and you're traveling the same distances, there are variables. Maybe you like to stay in RV resorts while the other person likes to stay in state campgrounds, or you like meals out and attractions while the other likes cookouts and campfires.
And you have to factor in the ownership costs. It's more complicated than a hotel bill versus using fuel. Owning an RV means you have costs for insurance, maintenance, storage, registration, and repairs. Not to mention if you've got a loan on the thing. A lot of these things you're paying for every month, whether you're using the RV or not. Hey, don't forget that hype button. If you're watching on a cell phone or a tablet during the first week of this video, there's a hype button, and if you click it, we get points, and this video goes out to way more people.
Now, is it true that diesel motorhomes are better than gas motorhomes? It depends. Better for what? Let's start with what's true. Now, diesel motorhome has more torque, has engine braking, a quieter cockpit, it has air ride suspension, and usually has more cargo capacity, and usually gets better gas mileage.
And nobody can argue with those, but gas does some things better too. Usually there's a lower purchase price, less expensive for maintenance, there's a lower fuel cost these days, and you don't have to have DEF. It's easier to find service, there's lower repair costs in many cases, and ownership is just simpler. Suspension add-ons have also dramatically improved the ride.
It depends on how you travel too. Some may prefer a diesel because they're traveling 5,000 or more miles per year, or they're going over mountain ranges, or maybe they have a heavy tow vehicle, or they might be living it in full time and just want more storage.
But they might find that gas is better for them if they drive less than 5,000 miles per year, if they travel more regionally, and if they only have a light vehicle that they need to tow.
We actually spent an entire episode comparing our prior diesel pushers to our current gas motorhome, and we came away appreciating each one of them. Now, the lesson wasn't learning that which one was better than the other, it's that they each had their positives and their negatives. There's a link up here and also down in the video's description.
Whenever someone says that diesel is better than gas, our first question really is to ask better for who? Because after owning both, we've learned that the answer depends much more on how you travel, what you value, than what engine that you have. In this next category, we're going to address some things that people say that are technically incorrect. And we're going to start with the RV's AC system. Because one of the things that people say is that the RV's AC can only cool the temperature down 20 degrees. Well, somewhere along the line, people took that statement and changed it to that it can only be 20 degrees cooler inside than it is outside. Those two statements are not the same thing.
And there's a lot of discussion on YouTube about this, and it's really not explained that well, at least in layman's terms it's not. The AC isn't really cooling the outside air. It's recirculating and cooling the air that's already inside your RV. It's kind of like when you hit the recycle button on your car's AC. Now what your AC system does, it basically pulls the air that's already in your RV, it pulls it through the return, it cools it, and then it sends it back into the RV, and then it keeps recirculating, and it keeps cooling it and cooling it over and over again until eventually it's going to reach the temperature that you have set on your thermostat.
And so if you wanted to measure that temperature, then what do?
So if you wanted to measure it, basically what you do is you take whatever you're going to use for measuring it. I have one of those heat guns where you can actually point a laser and find out what the temperature is. You would actually point that right into where your AC vent is.
Right up there?
Yeah, where the cool air is coming out, that's where you want to point that at.
The outside temperature still matters for a different reason. If it's a sunny day and it's 105 degrees outside and you have little insulation, the air conditioning may be warm again before it even gets to recirculating. And this RV, those walls get hot. If you're opening the door frequently, the cool air goes out, the hot air comes in. The RV may only be able to cool to 85 or 90 degrees on that same day because the heat entering the RV is almost matching the heat that the AC can remove. And RV's insulation, like I said, your window area, the roof color, humidity, and heat load all influence the final inside temperature.
There are things you can do to improve your AC's effectiveness. Pre-cool it in the morning, maybe park in the shade, or purchase an RV that's really well insulated. Keep your blinds closed, or maybe purchase blackout shades. Make sure and keep the door closed. If you have a rooftop ducted AC system, you're going to want to watch our episode on the Cool RV AC Connect. It's been a real game changer for us this summer.
So when someone says that an RV air conditioner can only cool your RV to 20 degrees below the outside temperature, they're mixing up two different measurements. The air conditioner itself is generally designed to cool recirculating air passing through it by about 16 to 22 degrees. Whether your RV ends up 10, 20, or 30 degrees cooler than outside depends on a lot of things, not just the air conditioner. The next one isn't technically incorrect, it's flat out incorrect. And that's when people tell you it's okay to leave the holding tanks open if you're connected to a sewer hookup. People think, why should I let the tank fill up when I'm connected to the sewer? But that's not how a black tank is designed to work. It doesn't flush like your house's toilet.
Okay, it's going to get visual and a bit gross here. This is how your black tank basically works. When you go to the bathroom, it stores your solid waste, and it also stores the liquid waste. Now what the liquid waste does, it basically keeps the solid waste floating, kind of like a baby Ruth in a swimming pool.
Don't touch it! Balding, no!
It's no big deal.
Oh!
Now when you go to flush out your black tank, that liquid waste basically makes it so all of the waste basically flushes out in one big flush. So you always want to keep enough liquid to keep those floaties floating. Otherwise you're going to end up with the dreaded poop pyramid.
If the valve is left open, the liquids are going to drain away immediately. The toilet paper and the solid waste is going to be left behind because there isn't enough water and liquid waste to keep it moving out. So the bigger that pyramid gets, the more water it's going to take to move that mass.
And then what'll happen is over time it's going to dry out, and then you're going to be stuck with that giant poop pyramid, and it's going to be a serious mess, and it's going to be really hard to try and get rid of that. Now we did a video on how to take care of this and how to clean out your RV tanks. Put a link here, and there'll also be a link down in the description below. So now what is the correct way to do this? Basically what you want to do is you want to keep both of your valves closed. And the process is, the first thing you want to do is you want to drain the black tank. So you're going to pull that black tank valve, you're going to let everything flush out. Once that's all cleared and flushed away, you want to close that valve. Then you want to open your gray tank. You want to make sure that's nice and full, just like the black tank was. Then what's going to happen is that's going to flush out with cleaner water, and it's going to clean that hose as it's going through there. Now there will still be some grease and stuff, you know, maybe some food or whatever that's stored in the gray water.
Which is why the gray tank sometimes stinks, even though the black tank doesn't.
Right, so sometimes you're going to need to use treatment in your gray tank as well as your black tank.
The next thing that people say that's technically incorrect is that once your RV turns 10 years old, that there's going to be a lot of RV parks where you can't stay anymore. And some do have this rule. But we've only encountered 2 RV parks, both of them in Arizona, where they really hold hard and fast. One of them was near Sedona, and the other one was in Mesa, Arizona. But since there's literally a dozen other RV parks in both of those areas, really, who cares? And some RV parks have upped it to being a 20-year rule, I guess because they figured if you're still paying for your RV 20 years later, you're going to have it maintained. In fact, a lot of the RV parks in Arizona do have this 10 or 20-year rule. Usually, they're what they consider luxury resorts. But for the most part, this rule is just for the parks to try to protect themselves. It's not a law, and it's not even a hard regulation.
It's simply a business policy that's adopted by private campgrounds, much like the way a hotel may set the standards for the hotel. Now, public campgrounds like state parks, national parks, Corps of Engineers. Public camping areas usually don't have this age restriction.
And it isn't really about the age of the RV, it's about the condition of the RV. This rule allows the owners to turn away decrepit RVs because sometimes those might break down in their park. And often when that happens, those owners of those RVs don't have the funds to either fix their RV or even to have it towed away. Then it becomes a huge financial and legal problem for the campground, plus they lose the loss of that space during the time that they're fighting with this. Both of our previous motorhomes were almost 20 years old, and we never had a situation where we were turned away from any campground. When I've gone to make reservations, they simply will ask me to send them some pictures, and we get approved every single time. So it's never been an issue. So basically, if you've maintained your rig, which you should be anyway, then you're fine.
The 10-year rule isn't really about turning away RVs that are older than 10 years. It's really about private parks trying to protect themselves from neglected RVs. Now, if you maintain your RV, it's nice and clean, well maintained, and you're willing to send a couple of photos, it really shouldn't be a problem.
Our final category is marketing myths. These are things that are used by the RV industry to tell you something that's very misleading or isn't even true at all.
The 4-season certification. Now, the sticker is real on many new RVs, and the performance it implies isn't standardized at all. No one really tests the RV, and there's really no certification.
The sticker, though, leads you to believe if an RV is set up as certified, looks like it's certified as 4 seasons, that it can comfortably handle all 4 seasons. And that's super misleading. If the salesperson even mentions it, I would ask him, 4 seasons where? Are we talking San Diego, California, or are we talking Alberta, Canada?
Now, more importantly, if this matters to you, you want to look past the sticker instead of relying on a marketing term. Ask the questions about the actual features, like, is the underbelly heated, or the storage area heated? Are your holding tanks heated? Or how is the plumbing protected from freezing? Is there upgraded insulation, or are there dual pane windows?
There are true 4 seasons RVs. They are very specialized and they are very expensive. The mistake is assuming that every RV that has a 4 season sticker means the same thing. So instead of asking, is it 4 seasons, I would ask, what features make it 4 seasons? That's a much more useful question. The next thing we're going to talk about is the myth that lithium batteries cost more. Well, they do, sort of. A few years ago, a 100 amp lithium battery cost you about $700 to $1,100 each. But today, a quality 100 amp hour lithium battery can now cost $250 to $500, and there's a lot of budget brands out there that'll even cost you less than that. So this is because production is really increased and there's a lot more competition.
The other point we want to make is you really can't compare AGM or lead acid batteries to lithium, because the AGM or the lead acid batteries, if it's 100% fully charged, you can only use 50% of that power. When you're talking about lithium, basically most lithiums you can use 90% of that power, or in our case, the Lion Energy battery, they say we can use 100% of that power. So in a way, a lithium battery is equal to basically 2 100 amp hour lead acid batteries or 2 100 amp hour AGM batteries.
So this is where the math really changes now, though. The life expectancy of those batteries. How many years will each of those types of batteries usually last?
Now, lead acid battery will last about 3 to 5 years and have about 300 to 700 charge cycles. An AGM battery is about 5 to 7 years, and that'll do about 500 to 1,000 cycles. A lithium battery will last 10 years plus. It'll have 3,000 to 5,000 charge cycles, and some premium models are rated even higher, so that's a whole magnitude of difference.
So if you plan to RV for at least 10 to 12 years, how many times might you replace your batteries? That makes that purchase price not tell you the whole story.
Another thing about lithium batteries, they charge faster, so they'll accept a faster charge until they're almost completely full. And the other thing that they do is they maintain a better voltage under a load. So if you're boondocking, that means you're going to be utilizing your solar power in a lot better way.
And your generator, you won't even have to use as much, which saves on
No,
fuel.
you'll have to use your generator a lot less.
And the last marketing myth is that solar prepped means that you're ready for boondocking. The sign says this RV is solar prepped, so you think it's ready to boondock. Nope, that's not true. Solar prep and solar ready are just marketing terms.
There's no industry standard for what this means or what it even includes. One manufacturer may include wiring or maybe a side port or maybe even a charge controller, where another maybe only include wiring that goes from the roof down to where your battery compartment is.
Our friends just purchased a brand new Winnebago View, which it really did come with a solar setup. This little Class C came with two 120 watt solar panels, a 320 amp hour lithium battery, and a 2000 watt inverter.
But that's the exception. The majority of solar prepped RVs are only pre-wired, much like how they pre-wired your house when you for cable when you initially purchased it.
Back in the old days.
Right. So you're still going to need solar panels, you're going to need batteries, you're going to need an inverter if you want 110 power, and you're also going to need a charge controller.
But it is something. Being pre-wired saves a lot of time on your eventual solar system installation. But it's not like they're giving you the expensive part.
And for you newbies, understand that by itself, solar panels are not going to power your coffee maker. They charge the batteries, and the batteries power the RV's electrical system, at least most of it.
There's only that outlet over there where I sit while you're driving.
There's actually three.
There's
There's that one.
But that one.
There's the one behind the refrigerator, and then there's one over there where they.
Okay, behind the refrigerator.
TV.
Can I plug stuff in behind the refrigerator?
No, you can't do that, but you can by the TV.
Okay, so if I'm sitting here on the couch, I can run a cord from me over near the TV. Or if I'm sitting here at the table or here and I want to plug in a toaster or something,
Yeah.
then I got to run a cord all the way across to the passenger seat. This is dumb. You're going to hear me mention this in every time it comes up because it's just dumb.
Okay. Now, without that battery capacity, all the solar panels in the world aren't going to make it so you can boondock any longer. Now, even if it means it's wired for solar, you still have to ask some questions. How many watts can it support? Is there already an inverter? What type of batteries are in the camper? And what can I actually run with what comes from the factory?
So solar prep is a nice feature because it can make adding your solar later much easier. But don't mistake prepared for solar to mean the same thing as prepared for boondocking. Those are two very different things. I think if there's one thing that we learned over the years, it's this. Don't stop at the label. Ask what it actually means. If it says that it's 4 seasons certified, if it says that it's solar prepped, if it's diesel versus gas, lithium batteries, or even the advice you hear from other RVers.
We've noticed that the most common statements in RVing usually aren't completely wrong, they're just kind of incomplete. The right answer usually starts with asking a better question.
The questions you need to ask are, how do you travel? It's better for who? Is it ready for what? And if saving money, compared to what? And if it's 4 seasons again, ask where? And more or less expensive, I would ask over what period of time. Please, if you can, share our videos with your friends and family. We really need the help because we're getting lost in YouTube and we're working really hard to give this information to make RVing better for all of us.
One of the great things about RVing is that there isn't just one way to do it. Some people really love staying at a luxury RV resort while other people love boondocking, being far away from the nearest town. And some people will travel thousands of miles a year while other people will just find one beautiful place and hang out for months at a time. Neither one is wrong, they're just different.
So we've become a little cautious anytime we hear someone say, every RVer should. And I learned a long time ago, don't let anybody should on you. Because after enough years on the road, we've started asking, is it true for the way that we travel, the way that we camp? And truly, we think that that's a much better question.
We hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, we'd really appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends and family on social media. And if you're not yet a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
And ring that little bell because that way you'll be notified each time we upload new content.
And make sure to leave a comment. That way you can be part of the conversation.
Until next time,
We'll see ya.
That's a wrap, roamers. If these adventures and tips are keeping you inspired, subscribe and watch another one. Your next RV tip or destination is just a click away.